Welcome to Smash Writing. I'm Paul, this is Justin. We are back with another classic monster review. And today's classic is Dracula's Daughter, which came out in 1936. Starring Gloria Holden as
Countess Zaleska.
which aka is the Dracula's daughter, and
Otto Kruger.
as Dr. Garth.
Alright, let's crack it on. Well, we start with the cops showing up at Castle Dracula. There's a body of Winfield, and then they find Dracula's body with a stake in it, and Van Helsing is there, so they arrest Van Helsing for the murder. But they'd be like, oh, he's been dead for 500 years. I don't know what you're talking.
So dumb to say that. That was like an asshole thing to say.
Yeah. So he's trying to explain to them that these are vampires and everything back at Scotland Yard. When a woman shows up to see Dracula's body, she hypnotizes the cop and gets in there and takes the body, and she cremates the corpse. And we jump again, the cop, he's unresponsive and everything. And she wants to be free of the curse, and she thinks now that he's dead, the curse is broken. But soon she goes and takes a victim of her own. And we see her going to sleep in her coffin. And then we see a doctor going to go. He gets picked up by his assistant Janet, because he has to go to Scotland Yard and help his old mentor, Van Helsing, who's being charged with this stuff. And he doesn't really believe in the vampire thing, but he agrees to help Van Helsing. That night, we meet the Countess Zaleska, who catches the eye of the doctor, much to Janet's chagrin. But, again, another victim. This one survives her encounter with the Countess. And he's meeting with Van Helsing, and Van Helsing is explaining to him the situation, and he tells him what's happened. And Van Helsing is like, you need to look for signs of gnomiers and something else. I can't remember, but all signs are pointing to Countess Zaleska the night he had with her, because there are gnomiers in her house. And she's kind of asking him for help. She believes that he can break the curse in her mind. She hasn't exactly come out and said anything yet to him, though. So a little bit more suspicious this time when he meets up with her. He kind of calls her out a little bit. And she's feeling kind of angry because she's not going to do his hypnosis, because that details use of mirrors. And that's what trigger him knowing she's a vampire. So she ends up kidnapping Janet and taking her back to Transylvania. He follows after her, and Van Helsing and crew follow him. And she hasn't turned Janet yet, and she confesses to being the daughter of Count Dracula. Actually, I think that may have happened the second time, but I can't remember. It doesn't matter. And pretty much it's going to be trade lives. She'll let Janet go free if she agrees to become her partner. And he's going to do it whenever her familiar aide handler shoots her with an arrow, and is about to shoot him with an arrow when the cops shoot him with a gun. She snaps out of it, and happy endings for all.
Okay.
I was expecting more from this movie.
How much more were you expecting?
I don't know, but I was expecting something else. Because this has reminiscence of a good movie, but they don't follow through.
Here's the thing, I like the fact that, in Dracula they had him turning into a bat and the effects were cheesy. This was kind of grounded.
Yeah.
She just wore her little veil type of thing and did her thing with a
She uses her ring to hypnotize, mostly.
Yeah. Now, my thing is, I forgot, I know they talked about her mother for a second, but is she technically half vampire?
No, she's full vampire.
Alright, so she was only always out at night.
Yeah, because she wouldn't meet him during the day.
So like it irks because like she makes herself to become like two characters. Like she wants the good girl act, but yet she gets in her veil and she's like supposed to be almost like a whole new person. That made it seem like she was more under a spell rather than it being her.
That's what I kind of like. I kind of like the idea of this woman who believes she's cured, but she's not.
Yeah, she.
And you could have made something really interesting there.
Yeah, I get that. Like there could have been another dynamic added to it. But like I said, with it being right down grounded earth, you know, you didn't get a floppy little bat. You didn't get complete darkness to represent her evil. You know, she was just in a veil. I do like the idea that, because you gotta understand, like these events of this film picked up directly after Dracula is killed.
Well, even then, it doesn't, because Van Helsing wasn't at the castle alone.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of people with him.
They missed those parts. So, like, I do like the idea that Van Helsing's reputation and sanity is kind of like on the ropes here, because nobody knows what they don't believe in vampires. They believe it's a myth. I thought the acting,
I thought Gloria Holden did really good.
playing two characters in one body, I think you have to kind of.
Like, she owned the room when she walked into it, and she really felt that presence came out of her.
Yeah. Yeah, every scene that she was in, she was definitely the scene taker. Janet was kind of right there too, because like
She was fun.
She was fun.
The way she was messing with the doctor.
There's an elephant that sees pink men, and the goofball takes it serious.
He's like, who's calling me?
He takes it for a brief moment, and then like they have that relationship where it's like definitely love, hate sometimes.
Yeah.
Because like he needs her because he doesn't even tie his tie, but yet he's like trying to always fire her because she doesn't take anything seriously. But I mean, how could you when you're hearing Van Helsing talk about vampires? You know, you did that from the previous one. You did it on the board too.
Yeah. The last one I swapped.
Like again, because I'm looking, I'm like, there is no Edward Vaughn. I'm like, wait a minute, there's Van Helsing. As a matter of fact, I don't know why they changed his name. Like in Dracula, it's Van Helsing, and then in this one, it's Vaughn Helsing. Like it made a difference.
No, it all depends on the spelling and pronunciation.
Well, no, they spelled it Van V-A-N and then Vaughn V-O-N. Poor writing, I guess. I don't know.
I think they could have done a lot more, because I like that bitterness and the tension between the Countess and Janet whenever they were interacting with one another.
Yeah, because the Countess, she
wanted the doctor, and she recognized Janet as competition,
and that's how she used used Janet as the bait.
Like we talked about movies that should get remade before. I think we talked about that with Gaslight.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah, that was what, a couple months. That was last year. Well, the way we recorded, that was like almost last summer when we recorded that, and that was a really good one because like it was so twisted. It was like, God, we got a remake of that one would be really sweet.
I think a remake of this could be really good if you really fleshed out these characters and gave it more time.
I agree, because like this film was only like an hour and 14 minutes. I think, just about, and we know movies in that time in the 30s, you know, really being the first type of films outside of silent films, are short like this. But yeah, I think because like when we did remake versus original, House on Haunted Hill, they need more time. They need to grow this more.
If you gave this like an hour 40, an hour 50, you can get a whole lot out of it.
And you know, that's the great part. Like how many Dracula films there have been remade after, you know, the 1931 film or whatever. We have yet to really get the sequels for Dracula. And this is, you know, the first sequel of Dracula. So
we're about to get another one. We're actually, by the time this comes out, it might already be out, where it's Dracula's voyage on the boat from Transylvania to England.
What's it called?
I can't remember what it's called, but it's him, the Demeter.
Okay.
It's going to show you the trip he took from Transylvania to England. And that vampire looks bad. I hate when they do that. But, yeah, like Dracula's daughter would be prime real estate for new ground.
I mean, and this is a good follow up because, like he says, it was a ground that you didn't really get no practical effects.
No.
Like it was just straight acting, plain and simple. Like this, you had the dynamic with Janet and the Callens. You had Garth. You had Van Helsing. You had all these good elements. I just think it was too short, which kind of at the overall hurts its overall grade.
Yeah.
Because there was no development with those stories. So, overall, what are you giving it?
I'm giving it a C. Again, I don't mind watching it. I think there's a lot of fertile ground here, and it wasn't bad.
I'm going to give it a C plus. It's there. I think I could rewatch it, which is some of these classic monsters that we've been doing now for like what, a year and a half or so.
Yeah.
A lot of them does kind of like nice to rewatch them, I think. But this one is cool because it's playing off the Dracula, but it also feels like its own movie. Like it's not a sequel.
Yeah.
The only thing is sequel about this is it has Dracula's daughter. It's like the title. That's it. Being down the ground, the earth. Great acting. Just needed more time to make the story just slightly better. Because of that, that's why I'm giving it a C plus. These classic monsters are really fun. So either way, it's nice to watch.
What is this bit of ranked ones we've done so far?
That's going to be interesting. Are we doing like volumes? Because if you said so far, so after like.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we did, we'll like do it, and then like a year or two later, return to it, like kind of like we're doing with Final Girls.
Gotcha. But until next time.
Bye bye.